Hi folks, and welcome back to a bike comparison video. So we're going to talk about the four bikes in front of us, compare features and specs, just so that hopefully you can work out, maybe if you're looking at one of these, which one might be best for you. So we're going to first of all run through the spec of each one, and then obviously from there, how well they fold down, if they fold down, to what sort of size, how much they weigh, what sort of range you can get out of them, and how long they take to charge, etc, etc. So we're going to start off with the MyRider GB3, and this has a 250 watt motor with a 7 amp hour battery, which would roughly, in real world environments, get you to probably around about 25 miles, maybe 30 miles top end range. It's got 3 gears. It's a folding bike, folds down to a very small footprint, and takes around about 3 or 4 hours to recharge. Obviously I've got it in the chunky tire model. Also comes with hydraulic disc brakes, belt driven, nice comfy seat. Like I say, got all the features on the handlebars, including a nice little screen on there as well. And there's a complete full review video on that bike down in the video description. Right, and then we move on to the Engwe EP2 Pro, which is a fat tire folding e-bike. Got a nice rack on the back, nice mud guards to protect you against whatever's going to flick up, 20 inch by 4 inch wheels. Again, it's got disc brakes. They're manual though, they're not hydraulic. In there you've got a 13 amp hour battery with a 7-speed gearbox. Now, nice handlebar controls, and with a combination of the 7 gears and the battery inside there, then you should easily get 50 miles to maybe 70 miles range on that one. The more cycling you do, obviously the greater the range. So this one's got a 750 watt rear motor and throttle control. One unique feature, not found it on any other e-bike, is that if you hold this throttle for about 7 or 8 seconds, it turns into cruise control. You can let go and it'll carry on going the same speed. And yeah, quite a nice bike. Lights front and rear. And again, there's a full review video in the video description of that bike as well. That's going to take quite a lot longer to recharge, maybe about 5 or 6 hours, depends on how much or how far you have depleted the battery. So this is the Cyrusher Komoda. This is a fat tire e-bike. It doesn't fold, so bear that in mind. It's got full suspension, including the proper forks at the front, disc brakes which are hydraulic, 7-speed Shimano gearbox, slightly wider handlebars with a slightly higher rise on them as well. Again, because it's not worried about it folding down or the compactness of it. So the handlebars are about 13 centimeters wider than the handlebars on a folding bike, which do give you a little bit more of control if you do use it off-road. So this one's got a 250 watt motor on it with a 14 amp hour battery, which means the range on this one is just as good as it was on that one. So you should easily be looking at around about 50 miles if you want to do a lot of cycling yourself as well. But again, if you use the motor assistance, then you're going to decrease the range dramatically. So with the wider bars, it also stretches out the distance between the rear of the seat and the bars itself. So unlike the folding bikes where they're kind of restricted with the way they fold, so you get a shorter distance between the back of the seat and the bars. On this bike you've got a slightly longer distance, mainly because the headstock reaches forward and the handlebars allow you to reach forward slightly as well. So you do get a slightly more lean forward kind of approach to it rather than a sit up sort of seating position on them. And then it's almost like this bike, the DYU FF500, has been somewhat of a love child between these bikes because it's a step through fat tire bike, but this one folds. So you've got folding handlebars and a fold there. So it does actually get to quite a compact size. Again, this one is a 500 watt motor. You've got thumb control for the motor, 7-speed gearbox, manual disc brakes, folding pedals. You've got a lovely carrier on the back there, nice rack, same sort of tires, 20 inch by 40. This one's got quite a unique feature in the fact that there's a suspension post, seat post, as well as the seat itself is pumped by this little air pump underneath, so you can get that quite comfortable obviously front suspension as well. That one's about £1,400, this one's about £1,400, this one's about £850, and this one's about £2,400. So hopefully that'll help you make a decision about which one you want. 19 kilos, 31 kilos, 31 kilos, 31 kilos. Real world range 20 to 25. The more you cycle without assistance, the bigger your range, but say 20 to 25 in real world. In real world conditions, probably about 50. Same with this one, about 50, and that one 40, 45 miles out of that. Now they've all got colour displays on them that will tell you the level of assistance, the speed you go in. Some of them might tell you the voltage of the battery, if you can work it out that way, but they'll all tell you a rough battery percentage, and most of them as well will tell you a trip. So actually like how many miles have you done since you switched it on and went out on this cycle trip, as well as how many miles have you done overall. The seat and riding position on this bike is quite good. The crank's quite low, but I have my seat quite high, so when I'm cycling, like sort of roughly like that is where your legs should be, not fully extended, almost extended, and that way you get a maximum power as you're pedaling through your legs. So that's why on this one the seat's quite high. This one is quite different though. The crank on this bike is quite further up, so you've got more ground clearance on it. So it does mean this is good for sort of like forest work, or really rough roads, and you've got more ground clearance underneath. But again, that does pose a little bit of a problem, which is I've marked some points on the seat post there, which is my comfortable riding position, like I say, with my leg kind of like, at its most powerful. The issue that I've then got, my feet won't touch the floor. Whereas this one, the crank is much lower down, which means I can have the seat much lower, which means I can sit very comfortably with my feet flat on the floor, and I feel more comfortable as I'm setting off or as I'm sat at traffic lights. So this one, again, adjustable seat, adjustable handlebars, but the crank is higher. So I'm on tiptoes, but I'm still all right. I've got a degree of control there. One of the downsides, therefore, of this bike is that as you're turning and cornering and pedaling, that the pedals do touch the ground. So just be cautious of that. If you are turning quite tightly and you're sort of leaning over, don't pedal at the same time, because what you don't want to do is catch your pedal on the floor and it flings you off the bike. Right, so really what you want to find out now is how small and compact they all fall down. So let's do that then. So the first thing to do to make it fair is we'll take the seat off, all the ones that fold the pedals, fold the handlebars, and then fold the frame. That's that one folded up. So we do the same on this one. Take the seat out, fold the bars, and that's that folded down. Obviously this one doesn't fold. So for this one, I'm going to wheel it out of the way. So same again. Pedals, seat post, flick the little lock out of the way, fold that down. And there we go. Right, so tape measure. I'm going to do the widest bits of each. Roughly 56 centimeters width, 80 centimeters that way. And to the widest bit on the headstock up there, or the tallest bit on the headstock, 55. Oh, you were paying attention because I forgot them already. But I'll put them up on the screen for you. Next one, the widest bit, 57 by 103. These are in centimeters, by the way. And again, the tallest bit, which is going to be this headstock, is 78. And then this one is 60 centimeters width, 103 length. And again, we'll go for the tallest bit there, is 80 centimeters. So that'll give you an idea of the fact that obviously you might have the space for that one, but not that one or that one. So in my van, I made a space for the MyRider GB3, and I then got this bike, mainly because I wanted to do more riding, I wanted a longer range, and a little bit more comfort as well as I go over through forests and just adventuring in sort of like off-road kind of places. So that actually still fits in the area under my bed that went into. So I was quite pleased with that. And this one fits under my bed as well. So yeah, my bed is 79 centimeters in height from the highest point of my floor, which is a padded floor, to the lowest point of the beam, 3 beams that support my bed. And all I really do is basically put them on an angle, put them in, and then bring them upright again, and then sort of strap them down inside. And that's why they're higher, obviously, than 79 centimeters, but I still get them into my van. So I thought it was worthwhile mentioning that whilst those are the dimensions, and obviously the dimensions of the space I've got between the floor and the lowest part of the beam in my van is one thing, obviously under my bed is much higher, and the floor, the sponge does give a little bit too. So yeah, you'll be surprised that that and that can go in the same space as that. And to be fair, so can this. By taking the front wheel off and adjusting this part of the handlebar so that the headstock and handlebar bend fully forward, and removing the seat, I can get this in my van. It just goes in lengthways, and yeah, it fits under the bed. And basically, as you've probably worked out, that's my bike of choice, to be fair. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. Right, so let's just go through reassembly just so you can see. Again, there are more dedicated videos on each of these bikes, so if you want to go and watch a more dedicated video where it shows me riding it and talks about other things, you know, features that I might not have all included here, go and watch the dedicated video for them. So as you can see, folding them all up is nice and easy. That one I'm going to convert the front wheel to quick release. The handlebars I'm looking at, but other than that, it's just an Allen key just to fold it forward, and then it just goes in my van, just straight under the bed. And to be fair, once I've got the quick release on the front, to fasten that in place and put the front wheel on, is probably the same amount of time that it takes to do these. You know, you're talking 30 seconds or something like that, maybe a minute if you want to take it out of the van, put it on the floor, you know, that sort of consideration. Do consider that these are 31 kilos, that's 19 kilos. So if you are lifting it in and out of a van, it's a big difference. For example, Mandy can lift hers, her My Rider, in and out of the van, not a problem. She can barely lift these up. They're quite heavy. But saying that, you know, they're built for quite robust environments. Let's talk about which one I prefer riding. Well, in the history of my bikes, there was one before that, but let's kind of exclude that one. It was a very cheap and cheerful folding mountain bike that did the job for quite a while until I needed something much smaller. So the other folding mountain bike was about 25 kilos and probably the same sort of size as this, but it was a full folding mountain bike with 26-inch wheels. So yeah, bigger. Whereas the My Rider is obviously much more compact and obviously is lighter as well. So carrying 2 of those around, which we used to, was quite a big difference in weight. So we moved to the My Rider and probably had it for nearly 2 years or thereabouts now, 2 years. And yeah, very happy with it. It's a very capable bike, very safe to use. It may look dainty and you know, a bit sort of like small, but it carries my weight. So I don't know how much I weigh in kilos, but I weigh 16 stone. So I'm probably at the upper weight range of the My Rider, but it's still been totally okay. Whereas these, I think it's 150 kilos for this, which I know for a fact is way more than 16 stone. So yeah, these will carry much bigger people. Yeah, obviously they're built for that, and they're built for a bit of exploring as well. But I really like this bike, and I bought this bike after using that for a while, because I did a bike challenge and I got into cycling. So I'd go out and basically do 30 odd miles, about 20 odd, 30 odd miles a day. And I just found that perhaps that isn't the best seating position and configuration for really enjoying long distance cycling. So I got this, which is a slightly greater distance between handlebar and seat. bigger wheels and tires, softer tires, so you get more suspension. And generally, you know, obviously having the bigger battery, it got me more range as well. So I could go out there for longer, enjoy it without having, you know, sort of like discomfort. And it's a cooler, just such a cool bike. So yeah, well, that's a cool bike. This is obviously, you know, the bigger version of that. Whilst you get the mud guards on there, the full mud guards on this one help me sort of in mud and water a lot more. And personally, having the 7 gears, whilst the 3 gears in that are great, having the 7 gears did mean that I didn't use as much as the battery inside of that. And this, like I say, the battery cuts out at each level of assistance, so I got more range out of it. I then made a review of the bike I bought. And then these 2 companies sent me bikes to review, because apparently once you make a bike review video, you're into doing bike review videos, so everyone's sending me a bike. There is actually another one on the way, by Engui, but basically it's almost the same as that, but it's the 250 watt version of that, if you like. But other than that, it's the same sort of configuration. I will make a review video of that, but I didn't think about including it at this point in time or waiting until it's arriving, because it is so similar to that. It really wouldn't be worth doing a proper comparison. These 2 companies then sent me these bikes to review. And this one isn't a folding bike. So I thought, you know what, I'll just review it and then sort of, you know, pass it on to somebody else. But I love it. So I've had that one for maybe about 3 weeks now, 3-4 weeks. Done a couple of 100 miles on it while I did the cycle challenge. I've been using it and love it. Obviously, it's got a few little compromises in it with it being a folding bike. Whereas this isn't a folding bike, and just a couple of things that I really love about it. I actually really like the step through bit. I'm not saying I'm old and decrepit, but I just really like the step through bit. It's so much easier to get on and off. Obviously you can see there the My Rider roughly has the same thing. With it being quite low, you can step through the frame quite easily. With this one, there's so you got to swing a leg over the back and then get over it that way. And then because of the fact that the crank is so high, the seat's got to be higher so you can get full use of it. Yeah. Anyway, so yes, that is by far the better way to get on this bike, and most bikes, in all fairness. And then the fact that it's obviously got a nice big battery in it, slightly bigger than that one, still got the 7-speed, meant that I was going to get the same range out of it. In fact, probably getting more range out of it than I got on that one, because it's actually even longer between seat to handlebars, which means along with the lower crank and the longer kind of distance that way, my riding position is almost perfect. I've been able to drop the handlebars a little bit, reached it forward and everything else. So yeah, this for me suits me perfectly. And the fact that I was able to squeeze it in the van just with a few alterations means that, yeah, I'm keeping this one. This one is so cool. I do like the wider bars. Like I say, I think they're 13 centimeters wider than the folding handlebars, so I get much more control and stability out of them. It's got obviously you know, same fat tires, 20x4 fat tires. It's obviously got hydraulic brakes as well, which do help. On that one I did have a bit of brake fade coming down Winnett's Pass, which is quite a steep hill, and I was about to make some upgrades so that had hydraulic brakes. So the fact that this has got hydraulic brakes, it's in a cool colour as well, almost matching the orange theme, orange and black theme going on. But yeah, this is such a cool bike. I am still going to make that one change to the back though, to change the cassette so that it's better for climbing hills and better for, you know, long flat straights as well. But I do find that having dual suspension is really cool. However, if you notice, the seat post is slightly different on this than standard, because I stole the idea from this one of having the shock absorbing seat post and bought one. So this one not only has rear suspension, but it's got a shock absorbing seat post and a nice gel seat as well. So this is so comfortable to ride, really, really comfortable to ride. Really, really like that. And obviously having a 250 watt motor as well makes it completely sort of road legal and everything. Very happy with that. And then obviously this company sent this, and I was thinking, oh, but it's step through and folding, and it's like, oh, I don't know now. But I have to say, it wasn't the fact that it hasn't got hydraulic brakes that upset me, or the fact that the handlebars are narrower, or the fact that it's not in orange and black, which is quite a nice colour, by the way. I don't know if I said that. It just was, it's not that. So the compromises in making a bike folding just, how can I say, spoil it a little bit for me personally. So for that bike, that's perfect for me and what I do riding wise and where I'm going, exploring and all that. Love it. This is the next best thing to that. So the comfort of this back seat almost, I would say actually, means that you don't need the rear suspension of that bike. So this is a fixed rear tail, if you like. That and the airbag and the seat thing are so comfortable to ride, it really is. It is just the fact that I don't actually need the folding nature of it, and I love that bike. So yeah, the range on it, everything else about it, love that bike. But this would be my next choice. If people are asking, you know, if you're on a budget, you don't want to spend a lot of money, the Engwe EP2 Pro is a fantastic bike. Like I say, for the price, brilliant. These two both come in under £1,400. If you don't need a folding bike, get this one. If you do need folding, but you want the same rough thing as that, get this one and just upgrade to hydraulic brakes. If money is no object and you want a folding bike that's lightweight, that can get you everywhere because it folds down, it's compact, it's light, takes less time to charge. Obviously, if you're not going to ride so many miles, it's got a good range on it. So yeah, if you can afford it and you need a small form factor folding bike, get that one. I know all this is my personal preference, and I know you've probably got hundreds of questions that I've not covered. I'm really sorry. I was just thinking from the top of my head, and all the review videos that I've seen when I was looking for other bikes after I was making a change for that one, and before I bought that one, I was thinking in my head, what sort of information do you need to know? And most of the time people want to know range, how long it takes to recharge, and then they want to talk about you know, sort of the weight of it, and you know, either will it fit on a rear bike rack, or will you have to get something else, or will it fold down so you can get it into the back of your van where it's more secure. So I've hopefully covered everything. It's probably been a bit of a long video, but hopefully worthwhile. Don't forget, links down below to where you can buy all these, and obviously watch the separate review videos for each of them as well. Before I go, a lot of you have said, are you selling your MyRider GB3, John? And yes, I am. It's a fully loaded version, fully spec'd, and was £2,800 when I bought it, and it's one of two. So if you are interested in buying my bike, please do get in touch. There's my Instagram details on the screen right now, and my email details. Fire me an email. Like I say, bear in mind that it's one of two, so it's very, very, very unique and is spec'd up with every conceivable extra on there. So yeah, just get in touch and we'll sort something out. But yeah, thanks for watching, and if you do have any questions left over, please comment in the comments section down below, and I shall do my very best to answer them. Thanks very much. Bye.